Hi guys, as promised, I'm back with part 3 of my journey with the maintenance court video. So just to recap, last time we went for our first appearance. He showed up, but unfortunately he didn't show up with any documents, so our case was postponed to the 7th of April today. So today I got there at 9 o'clock. So last time I got there at 8:30, but they only started working at 9. They called my name at 9:30, and by 10 o'clock I was at home. So but today, because I knew better, I got there at 9 because I didn't want to sit for long. I got there at 9 and they only called my name at 12:30. So today was different. It was long, it was exhausting. And they don't allow food inside the court, so I was starving. You can imagine how hungry I was by that time, because I left home early, so I didn't even eat breakfast. Anyways, we get called and we get inside a courtroom. So this time it was an actual courtroom. Last time it was just me, him, and a maintenance officer in a small office. So second appearance today was an actual courtroom. There was a judge. The judge only comes out later, but there's a judge, so it was a bit intimidating. And so we get called in. This lady introduces herself. It's a different one from the last time. The last one, so I thought that the person who handles your case is the person who's going to handle your case throughout, but it was a different lady this time, which worked in my favor because the last lady was nice, but she was too nice. He came with no documents and she was like, okay, I guess then we're just gonna have to postpone. And I was just like, that's it. So this one was feisty, and I loved her. So how it starts with, so she opens my file and she's like, okay, cool, I see we are here because you, addressing him, you didn't bring your documents last time, so you had to have all your documents. And he's like, no, he didn't have all his documents. Yeah. He didn't bring all his documents. Guys, this person was served papers on the 25th of January. When I served him papers, the paper you serve him, at the back of it has everything that he needs to bring, number one. Number two, we came to court on the 22nd of February when he brought nothing. And today is the 7th of February. He still didn't have his full documents. So can you understand? He's had 3 full months to prepare for this. He just doesn't want to. Secondly, I don't know if you guys will remember, I told you that this guy, 2 days after I served him the maintenance papers, he served me a restraining order saying I'm harassing him. So we went to court for that matter last month. And guys, when I tell you that he had a document this thick, his bag, his file was this thick with documents. So he was well prepared for that procedure, and he respected that court and that process very well because he brought everything that he needed to bring. So my thing is like, do you not respect this process this much? Because the maintenance case and the restraining case happened almost 2 months apart. The maintenance case was the first one. So he had little amount of time compared to the maintenance case. For the restraining order, the time he had to prepare was shorter, but he was prepared. So that hurt me, that you are so prepared to get rid of me legally, but you're not prepared to take care of your own daughter. So that for me already was just a hit. Sorry guys. Anyway, this lady goes off at him, basically saying the same thing I'm saying, like, you've had 2 months to prepare for this. Why don't you have your full documents? He says that he can't get his 6 months 6 months pay slip because the office is closed because of COVID. His office is not closed. It's not closed. I know this for a fact. Even if it was closed, you can't get HR to email you your 6 months pay slip. You can't do that. Okay, sharp, let's say HR can't. Banks are not closed. Why don't you have your 6 months bank statement? So already that for me, I was just, this lady's like, okay, cool, give me the documents that you have. So he had like 1 pay slip and 1 bank statement. Give me the documents that you have. He hands them over, and then she opens the file. So my file, when she opens, will have all the documents that I submitted when I went to go file, and it will have my expenses, the expense form that I filled in. So, sorry guys, so she starts with the expenses from the highest to lowest, the highest being rent, of course. So what she does is she takes the total amount of the rent, and then she calculates two-thirds of that rent. So she had a calculator and a pen, paper, everything. So she calculates the 2/3 of the rent he's responsible for. Electricity and water, 2/3 of that he's responsible for. Entertainment, so entertainment will be your Wi-Fi, DSTV, so whatever package you're on, that is taken, and 2/3 of that he's responsible for, because at the end of the day the child watches TV, you know. And then the last one that she did that got me all the way confused was the petrol. So in petrol, I had written 2/3, and so per month this is how much you spend on petrol, and 2/3 of that. And she was just like, this is not how it works when it comes to petrol. When it comes to petrol, you have to calculate the kilometers from where you are going to where. I guess it was a lot. So if you are going through this process, you must remember that petrol is calculated differently, and hopefully you can find someone who's going to help you exactly how you calculate the petrol. So I was just like, ugh. So she says to me, okay, cool, Miss Ndlandisa, next time please make sure that you calculate the petrol properly so that you can have your documents in check. In my head I'm like, next time? I don't want it to be a next time. I don't want it next time, you know. So I just keep quiet and I keep it moving. So after she's done calculating all of those things and includes a medical aid, everything amounted to about 6,200 rand, you know. So she looks at him and she's like, okay, cool, these are Amanda's expenses. Do you have anything? Do you want to dispute? Do you have anything to say about it? He's like, guys, he was just, his body language so cocky. He was just like, I don't know about her expenses, so I can't say anything. He knows my expenses. He knows them very well. So I don't even know why I had to say that, because he could have just said, no, I'm fine, let's keep it moving. So this lady's like, okay, cool. 50% of the 6,200 rand is about 3,100 rand. So you are responsible for that, you know? And what do you have to say about that? He's like, I definitely cannot afford that. So she's like, okay, cool. How much can you afford? He says he can afford between 700 rand and 1,000 rand. Okay. So at that time, I'm thinking she's going to look at me and say, okay, this is how much he can afford. Do you want to negotiate from there? It was like I wasn't even in the room. This lady was just like, okay. Do you understand that in maintenance works 50-50? So if you say that you only afford 700, between 700 rand and 1,000, it means you are leaving almost 80% of the responsibilities to Amanda. He's like, I understand that, but unfortunately it is what it is. I can't afford what she's asking for. Mind you, that's not what I'm asking for. Anyway, that's not what I'm asking for. That's just that the 50%. That's just the facts of it, which is 50% of taking care of this child. And this doesn't even include creche or a nanny. This is just a medical aid, her roof, her entertainment, and cost of traveling and food, you know. So continue. So this lady says to him, who do you live with? You know, she also asked me the same question, by the way. She asked, who do you live with? And I told her it's just me and the baby. So ask him, who do you live with? He says that he lives with his wife and his child. So the lady's like, okay, cool, how old is your child? He says the child is a year. So the lady's like, same age. Yeah, same age. That's another story for another day. I hope that day never have to come. So she's like, this lady, I'm like, okay, cool. So how much do you spend, you know, roughly on this child? Guys, he sat up straight. He fixed his spine to utter the words. And you know what? Actually, it's not even the words that I had a problem with. It's how he said it. He sat there and he's like, well, actually, I only spent 700 rand on my son. So, okay. Okay, let me start with what this lady says. This lady says to him, just because you spent 700 rand on your son doesn't mean that you're going to maintain Amanda's child for 700 rand. So he does this, it's irritating fly. It doesn't mean that you're going to maintain this child for 700 rand. She said it 3 times and asked, do you understand? And he says he understands. So my thing is, firstly, it's unrealistic for you to say you spend 700 rand on your child. Guys, like we know how expensive children are. Nappies alone, nappies and milk alone, and those are the necessities, you know. At least with my child, she's a year, she eats the food I eat. I make her veggies, she eats with me, you know. So food, literally the necessities is milk, nappies, baby wipes, you know. Those things for a whole month do not cost 700 rand, guys. Like, we know all of this. Nappies alone, you need 2 packs. Milk alone, 2 tins, and that's pushing it, you know. So I'm just like, why are you even so proud to say that? Number one. Number two, if all it takes is 700 rand to raise a child. Why aren't you sending me that 700 rand? Why are we here? You know, why did we have to come to court? Because you are now making it seem as if what I'm asking for is ridiculous, because all it takes for you to raise your son is 700 rand. So if that's the case, why aren't you sending it to me? And another thing for me, what hurts is that he's done this before. We had a family meeting last year where the same amount, about the 6,000 rand came up, that this is the amount of money Amanda is spending on this child. Him and his wife, so it was a family meeting between my family, his family, and himself and his wife. Him and his wife sat there and they were like, wow, we have a child and we don't even spend 1,000 on this child. Basically implying that what I'm asking for is ridiculous. Basically implying that I might be even lying about my expenses, or, you know, I'm exaggerating everything. He went and did the same thing a year later in court. So, and guys, mind you, him making it seem as if all it takes is 700 to spend on it to raise a child, as if I'm asking for a ridiculous amount. I am asking for 1,500 rand plus medical aid. That's it. So for you to sit there and make it seem as if I'm asking for a ridiculous amount because all it takes to raise a child is 700 rand, no. I'm asking for 1,500 rand, and that's not even half of, you know, of what it is. So this lady is just like, okay, cool, moving right along. After she explains to him that because you spend 700 rand on that child doesn't mean you're going to spend 700 rand on this one, she says to him, who do you live with? He says, I live with my wife. She had already asked who you live with. She says, you mentioned that you're married. What are you married in? He says that he's married in community of property. So she's like, oh, okay, cool. How much does your wife earn? He says he doesn't know. You don't know how much your wife earns? You don't know how much the person you live with earns? You don't know the person you married in community of property with earns? I mean, her wealth is your wealth. Her debt is your debt, and vice versa. So how do you not know? You know? So I then, and then this lady's like, okay, cool. Since you don't know how much she earns, next time you come here, I need you to bring her payslip and her bank statement. So at that time, I get confused, but also at that time, that's when I raise my hand and I'm like, I feel like it's getting too far. So I said to this lady, if I accept this between 700 rand and 1,000 rand, will it make it stop? She looks at me. You know when you are in public with your mother and you say something wrong, and the look she gives you, when you say something stupid and the look she gives you, that's the same motherly look that lady gave me when I said, I'm gonna accept 1,000 rand. Like, she looked at me like, but obviously she can't say nothing, so she just nods. When I say that if I accept 1,000 rand, will it make it stop? She just nods, and still you could see that she wanted to continue. So just to explain why they wanted to call the wife's, they wanted to subpoena the wife's document, because as far as I know, and as far as I've been told, lawyers also speak about this, that when it comes to maintenance, they don't go for the spouse. The spouse, the partners, the girlfriend, the wives, they're not involved. It's just him. As a result, that if he really, really can't afford, then they'll rather go to his mother than the wife. So I was a bit confused when she asked for the wife's documents. So she explains that the reason why she's asking for the documents is not because she needs to maintain my child. It's because you claim that you can't afford maintenance, because I guess you have all these expenses. You're paying for rent, bond or whatever. If you bought the house, you're paying for the cars, you're paying for food, you're paying for all these expenses. But now the court needs to see, what is your wife paying for? You're married, most. You're in a double income household and you're claiming not to afford this. Claiming not to afford maintenance. Amanda is in a single income household. Imagine what it's like for her. So there's two people in your home who both work, and you're claiming you can't afford. So they wanted to bring the wife's documents to see who pays for what, so that if he's paying for everything as he claims he is, then the court is probably now going to figure out a way to make some of the expenses move to the other side, so he can then have enough money to maintain his child. So she explains that to him, and I understood it. I don't know if he did, but I understood it. But even with understanding that, I wanted to make it stop, because I don't want his wife involved. There's too much blood, bad blood between the two of us. There's too much drama that's been happening between the three of us in the past 2 years. And this woman has literally said it with her mouth that she hates my child. And she said it in the family meeting that she'll never accept my child, and she's not going to allow him to be a parent, and basically she wants nothing to do with my child. So I didn't want her to feel like now, after expressing that she wants nothing to do with my child, now she's being dragged into maintaining my child, because I don't know if he's going to explain it properly to her. And even if he does explain it properly to her, I don't know if she's going to take it that way, so I don't want it to be a fight. I know it's going to be a fight. I know it's going to be a fight. So I just didn't want it to be a fight. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I've been fighting with these people for 2 years. From my pregnancy till today, I've been fighting with these people, and I can't do it anymore. I just got to a point where I'm just like, I'll take the 1,000 rand. It's nothing, but it's something, And what I like about it is that it's going to be a consistent 1,000 rand, like he has to pay it. He's been ordered by the court. So when all of that was happening, I was just like, you know what, it's fine. Let's just leave this woman out of it. I made the baby with this person. She wasn't there, so her finances, she needs not to be involved, especially when she's literally said it herself that she wants nothing to do with my child. So as I said, I didn't want it to feel like, oh, now she's got something to do with my child. So I was just like, let's leave it there. And I asked for 1,000 rand. So I accepted 1,000 rand, and I asked that he adds the child on his medical aid. And he says something so that I took in a hurtful way, because he sat there and he was like, well, even my wife and my child are not on my medical aid. So basically, I felt like he was saying that even the two most important people in this world are not on his medical aid. Why do you think your child should be on my medical aid? That's how I took it. So he explains that if he adds my child on his medical aid, his take home is going to be lower. But it's, once again, it's how he said it. When someone's like, well, even my wife and my child are not on my medical aid. Okay, so it's the way he said it. Once again, another slap in my face, basically another, I do not want your child, and so that's all for me. So when he said that, so I was just like, okay, cool, it's fine if you don't put the child on medical aid. Luckily my child doesn't get sick much. We've only been to the doctor outside immunization. We've only been to the doctor once, and because she had like a bad rash. So I'm like, okay, cool, can you then, for every time I need to go for immunization, give me extra money that month? This lady's like, okay, cool, that seems fair. Are you guys going to be able to do that? How is he going to know when you need that extra money? Because I'm like, Vele, how is he going to know? Because he's got a restraining order against me. I'm not allowed to talk to him. I'm not allowed to breathe the same air he breathes. Like, what am I going to do? This lady's like, well, what are you guys going to do? And I'm like, no, actually, he's got a child who's the same age as mine. So when he's taking that child for immunization, he needs to remember my child. So that was the agreement. The agreement is that he's going to send me 1,000 rand a month, and add extra when it's time for me to take my child for the immunization. So this year we've already done 12 months. So the next one is 18 months, which is in September. So I don't know if I'll get anything. So that's where we close it. That's where my maintenance journey ends for now. And I emphasize on for now, because if I have to drag someone to court to give me 1,000 rand, I don't trust that he will. Maybe the first month he will. I do feel like, I have a feeling, I'm not trying to be like negative, but I do have a feeling that I'll be going back to court to go apply for errors, So that's where the journey ended for me. We agreed on the 1,000 rand and the extra for my immunization, and then after that, the judge comes and to explain to him basically what happens if he doesn't pay, So, before the judge comes, the maintenance officer explains to him, this is how maintenance works. In order of importance, it's your salary, you get your salary. In order of importance, it's a SARS, then it's my child, it's the maintenance. Then you maintain the child you have at home and you do your expenses. But basically, it's SARS, it's the court order, then everything else. So no one can ever come here and be like, no, my debit orders took everything. You shouldn't have allowed it to get to that point. Basically, that's what she was explaining. So I got that. And I was told that I'm going to get the money, I'm supposed to expect the money at the last day of the month. And if I don't get it, I must wait 10 days. If after 10 days, there's still no money, then I have every right to go to court and to apply for arrears or to lodge a complaint. And it's either they garnish his salary, they attach his movable assets, so his cars, or he gets 3 years imprisonment with or without the option of a fine. So those were the conditions, basically the ramifications if you don't pay. So that was it. And then the judge comes to basically sworn. I don't know the exact words for why the judge comes there, But she comes to basically reads him exactly what basically he was told, that if you don't pay, this is what's going to happen, you know. Do you understand? She puts a stamp, she signs, and then you have to stand up, I guess, and then she's done. And then we get copies of everything, copies of the court order, copies of everything. So the funny thing is, that's when I knew this lady was just, she's on the right side, you know, because, you know, because we hear so many of these negative stories and bad stories. At the time when he was just like, I can only afford 700 rand, between 700 and 1,000, I thought this lady was going to look at me and be like, yes, it's hard to get, because that's all he can afford, because that's the kind of stories I've heard, you know. At the end, guys, this lady is just like, actually, before you go, before she draws up the court order to say it would, as of 30 April, she's like, actually, you need to send Amanda money now, because it's the 7th of April. Send the money now. It's the beginning of the month. And then he's just like, I don't have it. And then she looks at his bank statement, Nangambela. She's just like, oh, yeah, I see you don't have it. And she goes to go get the court order. But that alone for me was just like, oh my God, like you guys are not as bad as the stories I've heard. Maybe it was my lucky day. Maybe you are just one of the few, but I could see that the lady was on the right side. I could see that the lady wanted me to fight. I could see that she wanted me to continue this fight. But as I said, guys, I've been fighting with this man for 2 years. I'm tired. This man has put me through hell and back. Like, because of him, I now know that rock bottom has a basement, you guys. Like, I barely rock bottom. Like, I've never been as hurt as I've been in the past 2 years because of one person. So I don't want to deal with this person again. I don't want to deal with his spouse. I don't want to deal with his family. I don't want to deal with none of it ever again. So I really hope that this court order, I hope that he doesn't miss a payment. And because of him, thanks to him, he's got a restraining order against me that is valid for 6 years. So thanks to him, me and the child will never see him for the next 6 years. We can't see him. Legally, we are not allowed to see him for the next 6 years. So I'm really hoping in the next 6 years, I know I will, in the next 6 years, just put myself together, raise my children I just want to heal. I'm tired of fighting, and I hope I don't have to fight anymore. In the past 2 years, I've fought more than I've ever fought in my life, and I can't do it anymore. So that's why for me, my journey ends here for now. But I do want you to know that if you are about to embark on this process, for me, the system didn't fail me. My baby's father failed me. So I don't want you to think that, I don't want you to get discouraged by my story. If anything, I want you to know that you also can get the same type of attitude and same type of ethic that I got. I got a woman who was determined to do the right thing for the child. A woman was determined to fight on my behalf. It's just that I didn't have the fight in me anymore. But I guess not all maintenance officers are bad and not all stories are negative. I just personally can't do it anymore. But you guys, if you really, really, really have the strength, please go to court and fight for your child. Because yes, I've got 1,000 rand only at the end of the day. It's not a lot, but at the end of the day, it's something. You know, it will help with food, it will help with nappies, it will just take the load off myself, my mom, and my sister, because those are the 3 people who've been helping me financially. So thank you to you guys actually for supporting me. And when I uploaded my last video, I did not expect that much support, and you don't understand the strength I draw from your positive messages and your encouraging words. And yeah, but I just can't do it anymore. I can't. It was except going through a horrible pregnancy, this was one of the most emotionally draining things I've ever had to do. And I was only in court twice. I don't know how the women who are in court for years do it. I salute you ladies, I don't know how you do it. I only went to court twice, but I just couldn't handle it anymore. So this is where my journey ends, and thank you guys. And just one more thing, I thought that I opened this channel just for this maintenance journey and it's done, but then I thought I was going to shut it down. I won't. I'm going to continue to document hopefully things that you guys can relate to. I'm a single mom of 2. It is hard, so that's going to be mostly my content. I don't want to do too much deadbeat content because I'm tired of dealing with these deadbeats. I've been dealing with my first child's father for 12 years. Well, actually haven't been dealing with him because he disappeared. I only started dealing with him this year, and also it's strenuous. And I'm dealing with this one, my last child's father, for 2 years. It's just, it's a lot, you guys, it's a lot. But I will be back. Please, thank you so much for subscribing. Please don't leave. I will be back. And if you are looking for a sign to take your child's father to court, please take this as a sign. Please do it. And once again, what I said on my first video, I will say it again. If you need someone to go to court with, please, I'm here. If you are around Joburg, so I'm in the I'm in North Riding. So North Riding, Cosmo, Four Ways, Bryanston, Honeydew, Randburg, I think there's Roodepoort Court, but I think those surrounding areas we go